Hello and welcome to the first of several iFormPro demos. iFormPro is a tablet-based form capture tool that we provide to companies in the UK. Very simple to use, so we can see the tablet on the screen. All we do to create a new form is tap the Create Form icon, and that will bring up the list of documents that I have access to, which is completely scalable. So can have change control and change management around who sees which forms. We're just going to start a demo form just so that we can demonstrate some key features to you. As soon as we select the form template, which you can see on the screen, it either gives the form a default label, or we can remove that and give it a specific label. So we'll say iForm Pro demo, and we'll put a date on there, 2014. Create the form, and this will bring in a blank form, and we can see here that the form very easily you can scroll through the form, you can change pages. Acts very much like a virtual piece of paper, which is obviously attractive to the end user. If we try and submit the form using this little red icon here, it will actually display some user errors. So it will the actual software can have mandatory fields defined within it. So here we can see that we've got a whole heap of field values that aren't being satisfied before we submit the form. And if we were unsure where any of these fields were, for example first name, we just click first name and the product will take us to first name. So quite intuitive for new users of forms. Here we can see we've got a couple of down here we've got a couple of modes of data entry. We've got keyboard, which we can use conventional keyboard, as you can see. Or what most users prefer is the handwriting recognition. So we can see now we've got a grey pane at the bottom of the screen. If I just write in that box, it will perform a couple of things. It's got James correctly there, where I've written James in the box, but if we were trying to capture Jones, we can see we can select Jones as a derivative, so it's actually quite unique, the product. It's doing spell checking and providing you with almost predictive handwriting. So if I go to last name and enter Smith, you can see how accurate the handwriting recognition is. So again, we don't need to change any values there. We can scroll backwards and see what was captured, and we could in this instance put Smith Jones if it was a hyphenated name. We can clear the field value if it's got it wrong. Basically a very versatile handwriting recognition tool. We've developed this from our experience in digital pens, where it used to be that you had to write with one character per box, all uppercase. Very laborious and actually quite unrealistic for engineers in the field. We can see there by writing that way, it's actually captured that it's uppercase writing, not lower. If I wanted to change this, I could just draw a line through the word and start again. So again, it's about as flexible as we'll probably ever get with our handwriting recognition that is underpinned by vision objects. So we go through and we might choose keyboard to tap the address in. So let's put our office address in here, Mallory House. Get to keyboard, Mallory Yard. Goosetree Way. So we can see how quick and accurate it is to get the information in there. Let's try see if it can get mobility. Yep, so you can see that it's really accurate here. We want Cheshire, so we're using an option list here, so it's 100% accurate data. And the postcode is WA167GY. So that's the address in. We can see now that we've filled in what were mandatory fields that were highlighted by a red box, that we could actually submit the form now. So again, the form validation has done its core validation for us, which is handy really. Email, you'll note we've restricted the data entry type to keyboard because handwriting recognition and mail addresses don't generally go hand in hand too well. So let's put Sorry about that. Let's just put a quick mail address in there. When we enter mail addresses like this onto a form, the actual workflow of the product can actually automatically send a copy of the output, so the file and all of the data, to that email user. And we just put a phone number in there. 0165873. And here we've limited the data entry, as you can see there, just to numbers. So when we click that field, it's just numbers. I don't think it's liking that because I've got spaces in the number. I'm not sure why that's. Just clear that field. The date and time, what we've got is the date wheel. So it's always today's date. Arrival time on site, it's always the current time. And then technician name we can select from, again, from a list. So it's always 100% accurate data. We can distinguish between radio buttons, so cash or cheque as a payment method. Rather than, it's one or the other, you can't select multiple values. And in the checkboxes we can have multiple values, so we might have checked the cooling system, startup, heating, and we may have replaced filters. This is quite interesting now. We've got the ability to embed graphics into forms, so when I click this image it will bring up an exploded view. So this may be for assembly drawings or a particular instruction on how to strip down a component. In here it's some sort of cooling assembly. And at the top we have a set of tools where we can change the ink colour, so we'll go with red, and we can then annotate the picture with various items. So we may just choose to say what's gone well, for example on assembling a component. If it was something that was broken, we may change the ink colour and get the client to sign the drawing. And if we've made any mistakes, what is really neat with the product is we can remove items. So if we said, well, we don't want the client signature on that, we could remove that. When we come out, all of those markups are put onto the base plan. If we go back into the plan, again we can still get access to the various components. It retains the session, so we could still change the drawing. Conversely, we may start with a blank drawing, so again the same familiar tools to change ink colour, etc. So we'll start with blue ink, and what we'll do is we'll draw an outline building. So this is quite useful for floor layouts. We're actually working at the moment on a snap to grid function that will sharpen these lines up when they're drawn. So we might say that the door's there, and then what we're going to do, excuse me, change the line thickness and the ink colour. And we'll mark where we need power put into the room, and we could write some notes as well. So power required. Again, the same control. If we wanted to remove one of those, we can do that. We can click undo if we want to put it back. So quite versatile drawing tools. The product also features a annotated, it shows us which page we're going to go to. This particular form doesn't have any page labels, and we've got a jump to page which shows field names. So if we want it to go to electrical components inspected, it will jump us to that page. So we're just on page 2 now. We can pinch and zoom the form to zoom in and out, as you can see. So most people are used to standard iPad operation will be able to do this. Here we've got just blank fields, but if I select that we've looked at electrical components, we'll see that those become red. They're outlined red, and they will now appear. So the ability to submit the form has gone. And actually, if we click that submit form, it shows me that those fields need to be completed before we can submit the form. That's because we've made these values mandatory by clicking this electrical components button. If I unselect that, they drop from being mandatory again. So again, quite a useful feature. Another feature of the product is it can copy the data. As you can see, we've got James Smith from the first page copied through. And if I go back and change James to John, I think we had John Smith as the mail address. It will change that value on the second page. So we can see that John and Smith are accurate compared with the first. We can also do basic mathematics with the product. So if I select a material here and we say we've used, I don't know, fuses, and the unit price of those is £12.99, and we used 4 fuses on this job, it will give me a automated line item. We might say that tax, so VAT, is 20%, so it will mark up the total accordingly. And we could add other values, so we'll say sockets, because we were putting in 4 sockets, and we'll say they're £9.99 each. So we put 4 sockets in as well, and it will change the values accordingly. We can also freehand comments, so we can say work completed, and we'll put OK. And you can see that it does complete freehand recognition. Before we get signature for this particular form, we may take a photo. So what we can do, we can attach photos. So I'll just go to photo attachment and we'll take a photograph. And we'll take a photo of the office. So we've captured the photo there. We then just click use photo, and that will embed the photo into the form. So the output is going to give us the photo in a thumbnail layout diagram automatically at the back of the form. What we can also do that's really neat is we can go into that photo and we can annotate. So this is great if you were marking any damage. Again, it's familiar changing tools. We might have a problem with that copier. Needs to be removed. There may be other issues. We have a problem there. And the same applies if we make a mistake. We can either remove one component or both. So again, quite a versatile tool, and one that hopefully you'll enjoy using. When we close that, those the little pen there on the photo that you can see bottom right hand corner indicates that it's got annotations. So if we go back in, it shows us those annotations, and again the session's still open so that we can edit what was written onto the photo. This is used quite a lot by engineering firms if something's unsafe and they've taken a photo of, say, a problem with a wiring loom. Engineering firms will use that to get the client. So again, we could ask the client to sign, put the pen on, that would help, to sign that they have seen the photo and they're happy for what the engineer thinks is an unsafe item or asset to remain open. The other thing we can do, which we do on forms, we don't generally highlight this location option here that you see, but if we click location, what that's actually done is it's used the GPRS of the device, and we can show where the form was completed on a map. So this is our office location in Mobley in Cheshire. Like I say, what you would normally do is you would have that GPS attachment mechanism attached to, say, the customer sign-off for a form. So when the customer signs the form, it's going to give you the exact location that form was completed. The other thing we can do, which is quite neat, is we can record voice memos. So if an engineer was on site or a member of the service team was on site and they wanted to dictate some notes for head office, just click the voice memo, and if we start recording now, it's just going to give us exactly what we say, which is quite neat. And again, that just comes through as a form attachment. So when the form's submitted, you will get a PDF form. So it will give us this form with all of the data entry points, including, as we see here, we can do customer signature capture. So again, we don't need to sort of do anything with the form. All of our forms are vector based, so as we zoom in, it doesn't go. You know, when you sign for a parcel from the Royal Mail, for example, it looks like Lego. This stuff uses vector graphics, so it stays smooth, legally admissible in court, so it's BIP 0008 compliant. We'll just date this form, today's date, and we can see that we've got everything now, so the form's complete. If I want to submit to head office, I can choose the submit option here, or I may wish to just share that with a colleague, so I could do that via email, and it will basically prepare a message and just put the PDF in there, so we can see it's created a PDF attachment there. Just cancel that and delete the draft. If I submit the form to head office, quite simple, the product asks me for my password. We click the padlock, and we can see it's submitting documents now. The product works fully 100% offline. You can just submit documents when you get to a Wi-Fi point if you want to work offline, or you can submit out in the field with a 3G or tethering the iPad or the Android device to your mobile phone. We can see here now that we've got this blue number, which is a unique form ID, which means the document's been submitted and it is back on the iFormPro hosted cloud, ready to view. That's the end of the quick orientation. Obviously the form appears now in my queue, so I could either create a new form. What we can also do, which is quite useful for multiple sites with inspections on the one site, is if we go into this form, all this mandatory information is obviously completed. We can do a copy of that data. If we come out and go back to documents and then create a new form, and then go back down to the iFormPro demo. When we create that form, we'll call that Demo 2. That could be your job number. But all we do then is, rather than having to laboriously enter all of that data again, we can just paste all, and it will pre-populate with the same site information. So again, that's great and really useful for engineers visiting multiple areas on a single site, where you might not want to duplicate the effort required to enter the site info. Okay, that was a quick orientation of iFormPro. We'll be back with some more demos later, but thanks for watching.